So, well, first, Allison, I think maybe it's your turn for minutes.
Oh, okay. Will do.
And then the next item on the agenda is approving the minutes of August 5th, which Susan did, and which I don't think anybody had any comments on at our unofficial meeting last time, so.
They looked good. I'm on a meeting, baby.
Company. So does anybody have any comments about the minutes? If not, I'll accept a motion to approve.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you, Susan.
Sure.
Next is the update on the center school project, and I'm sorry to report that the state grant did not come through. We didn't get any funding,
Oh,
which is a blow.
Wow.
We just found out last week, and I don't yet have any feedback on it, but they said there was a enormous demand. I think, well, let me recap. We did get a $14,000 grant from the National Trust for a feasibility study. Had I reported that? I think maybe I did.
yeah.
And that will require 100% match. And that's on the agenda for the special town meeting on November 12th. It's got moved to the 12th. So I hope people will show up and vote for that.
I'm sorry, Judy, that 14,000 is for what?
It's a feasibility study.
Right, okay, thank you.
And the feasibility study is to find out, to hire a professional to look at best uses of the building. I think what I am deducing is the more housing units you can have, more affordable housing units you can have in a building, the better off you'll be for grant money. I mean, even that round of grants, everything asked about housing. And now all the new housing grant money is coming out. There are two significant things about this process. I think one, the National Trust obviously thinks this building is historically significant. That was a national grant. We got the full amount we asked for, which floored me. I didn't expect to get anything out of that one. It's ironic. And that will be very helpful, I think, in getting preservation tax credits from the state. I think the fact that the National Trust was willing to invest in this building will be very useful. So that's one good thing. I think the feasibility study will be helpful too, because we can say, we had professionals to analyze this and for the next round. And I'm assuming that there will be a next round. It's obviously up to the select board to decide what to do. But
And next round of what, Judy? You'll assume to be.
I'm sorry, I'm taking for granted the next round of grant applications. I'm assuming we go back for the same state grants again, state grant.
So your committee intends to reapply?
We haven't met, but I would assume so. I think the first step is the select board has to decide what they think appropriate. If they want to still leave it in the hands of the committee, or if they want to try for an RFP on their own again or something. But yeah, I think the committee would reapply. We're in the process of getting estimates. The other two learnings. One, the roof needs replacement rather than repair. And that there's a synthetic roof substitute that Mass Historical will accept, that's eligible for the Secretary of the Interior standard. So I think we've learned a lot in the process, or some good things. It hasn't resulted in as much money as we would like, but we still are in the process of getting estimates, the committee, for the roof replacement with the synthetic and for the structure. We still don't have the structural engineering report that the CPA approved.
Do you know when that's likely to happen?
Can't get a hold of anybody. Everybody is so backed up. And good people anyway. So no, I don't. I wish I did. First people are on vacation and then people are recovering from vacation. And so that's the update, and that's what I have to report. I should also say that the Windows hardware has been installed at the church. Ashley, the church got a CPA grant for window restoration. We put in dual pane glass in the old window frames and started out with a bang, and then we had great difficulty getting a hold of the contractor, and delay after delay. So all that needs to be done now is to insulate the old sash cord pockets and
That's a
finish
nice
the
upgrade.
inside trim.
It's a really nice upgrade for them.
Yeah, it looks really good. The church is in the process now of ordering the storm windows to protect those, which was the church's part of the project. And the exterior painting's being done now. So you drive by this huge lift. They're repairing the steeple base, which is separate from the whole project. So that's what I know there. So if anybody has any advice or comments or knows anybody who's interested in being on the housing committee, I think that's one big problem with going forward with affordable units here. There's no really active housing committee at the moment. Catherine Wolkowitz has resigned from the committee and they haven't met in
Yeah,
months.
she was the chair, so there's no chair.
There's no chair.
Mhm.
She was also the representative to the CPC, so that's
Mm.
another whole. But so I wish there were better news, but I think having the feasibility study will be good in many ways. I think it will help the town coalesce around it too, hopefully. But we'll see.
Yeah, I feel like if there are some very obvious or firm things that people can envision,
Yeah,
I think that gives a better story for the use of
that's
it.
huge, because that was true of the town hall. Nobody was interested or there was huge opposition till all of a sudden there was a set of drawings.
Mm.
And then people could see it and they could envision it and they could imagine it. And the opposition, I won't say it evaporated, but it certainly dwindled. So the next item that I had is CPA applications are due on the second Tuesday in December. And I didn't know if anybody had heard of any historical projects. I haven't.
Yeah.
Because ideally, if there is something cooking, we should encourage people to come and talk to us about it so we can be supportive and guide the process a little bit if anybody needs it. But well, more money for the center school, maybe.
No competitors.
Quant's next project. Next thing I had was, or we had left over, is membership. I haven't
No
had
response from the scoop ad.
nothing.
Well, excuse me, but didn't we kind of, we lost our thread when we started to talk about the spy camera size of the ad as it appeared in the scoop the last time?
Yeah, ad was sort
We
of,
agree that that was not particularly useful.
yeah, I could agree. What I'm wondering if we could put that ad up on the town Facebook page and the town website. And
And
send a
post it
note,
at the library and town
post it at the
office.
library and at town offices, and I think at town hall, because that's our official residence.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
we can do it soon, we'll catch everybody coming in for early voting and then
Yeah.
voting in November.
Ah,
And also we could send it to Chris Larrabee and he could put it in the South County Notebook. And the other thing I think we could do is if we send it to people we know who we think might be, we all have contacts, whether they're email or text or whatever, but if we could send an alert out to people we know and say if they know anybody who might be interested.
Do you want me to take that ad and fit it on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper and somehow get it around to be posted? Do you want me to send it to you, email it to you guys, and you can print it out and put it where you want to put it?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to make it a flyer.
yeah.
and
Flyer
then
style.
you could do a if you, yeah, and even a then also format that they could post on the Facebook page at town Facebook page.
Well, they can post that file on, I mean, they can't make it any smaller than it was in the scoop.
I can't
I
believe
guess I'm
I
still
can't believe she did that.
I know, and then what I guess what I'm really asking is there any value in asking her to run it again and point out that it would be useful if it was a readable size?
Well, if we don't hear anything by the time of the December scoop, I would do that.
But I mean, you can't, yeah, okay, there needs to be some kind of conversation with Joyce about size.
Yeah,
And if she, if she says, well, I don't have that much room, then we need to edit our copy down so that it doesn't take so much room. I just assumed when we made that thing that we had sort of free reign to make it a reasonable, like a quarter page size.
yeah. I think
You
it's,
must have too. Okay,
we might have to make it business card size.
okay. Then someone needs to edit it.
Yeah,
I mean, it was business card size.
yeah. Or we could pay.
First, let's work on posting
Okay, let's do
in
that.
work
around town,
The freebie
because,
stuff.
yeah, if we're successful with that, then it's moot in terms of getting it for the scoop.
Yeah.
If we can
The
get it off.
scoop is a November meeting problem.
Yeah.
It's a problem for future us.
So I didn't have anything else.
Did
We're
we
still,
want to talk any more about the 250th in 2026?
happy to. I haven't made any progress with anything I offered to do, which I guess was send something to the listserv. I've been trying to figure out how to do that. Are you all on the listserv, by the way? Allison?
Yeah, Ashley, did you do some scouting around? I think we talked about, did you? I did too. What did you?
I did. Well,
Find
a
the
lot of
Mass 250th site?
I went on the Mass 250th site. Was not super thrilled about it.
Well, it looks like they hadn't really gotten it going yet.
That is what it looked like. I did find most of the colonial states have these 250th commissions, and there was something that North Carolina had put out, which was really nice. It was kind of like this PDF that they seemed to send out to communities saying, here are the things that you can do. Like, here are the themes that we're trying to highlight, which was I thought it was very helpful. I'm happy
I
to
didn't
share
see
that.
that. Yeah, what did it say?
Yeah.
Well, sorry, my cat is now on my notes. Rhubarb, move out of the
Oh,
way.
of course.
One of the things
Sure.
that they talked about was this idea of the ongoing work of democracy. So we're celebrating, the signing of the Declaration, but it doesn't necessarily have to be historic in nature, everything that we are celebrating. It's this idea of how democracy has built from that time, which I thought was an interesting way to look at it. So it doesn't necessarily have to be anchored in the late 1700s. And they had a lot of things about voices from past and present, and this idea of carrying stories through, and what linked that in terms of, like, for us, is this idea of place and the stories that we hold in different places. So I thought that there might be an interesting thing to do about, like, learning your story or understanding how to find out more about your neighborhood or where you live, or some of the Whately stories or something like that. Whether we do something in the scoop, or we provide information about how to do some of your own research or something like that. That was one of the ideas that I came up with while I was scouting that stuff. But I'm happy to share that document from North Carolina because I thought it was really helpful. But I really kind of like the idea around storytelling. Anyway,
We did a
I'm going to email
workshop.
that out.
We did a workshop once on how to research Whately, your house and
Mhm.
your neighborhood. And there's a link on our webpage.
Yeah,
I
but
think-
I think there is nothing but value in even reiterating that.
Well,
and
that's what I'm
opening,
curious whether
representing that,
whether we wanted to think about redoing that.
there was
And-
some work that we did for the hidden history thing. Actually, I
Yeah.
don't know if I had a chance to see that.
I have,
Looking
yeah.
at the history of some of the neighborhoods. And I think that is something that there might be fodder there to work with, the idea of the different neighborhoods in town and their histories that all go back quite far.
Yeah.
And bringing, and just finding a new way to bring that out to share with the public, however that happens, whether that's featuring them one at a time through over the course of a couple of years, even, this 250th thing is going to go on for a while because the war lasted a long time.
Yeah.
Um,
We have the Scoop as a place where we could have, guest articles or something. One thing that I saw mentioned there that is not in our control was the idea of doing a book club through your local library. I know. But again, it's storytelling, and I'm like, that would be really cool.
no, and so I was at a meeting this morning at 9 o'clock with the Historical Society folks, because they're coming to the end of their current exhibit about childhood and now thinking about, oh, what are we doing next? And they have a couple of ideas, and so some of them more fully thought out than others, but there was a suggestion from somewhere, oh, maybe it should be something about the American Revolution, and that's as far as the suggestion went, pretty much. So I was giving that some thought because I know that we had talked about this same thing, and I feel like if something is going to happen in this town, really the strongest presentation would be if it was a conjoined effort from whatever entities we can muster down to the brownie troop if we have to, but I'm thinking the society, the library, the
Yeah.
schools,
schools.
whoever else, the fire department, I don't care, whoever it is, we can kind of bring together to do a thing. It has more strength than if each of those entities does their own deal. So when I saw this agenda item about we should do something about the revolution, and then a lot of blank faces about it because mostly what people try to conjure is some guns and ammo, event that has to do with guys and guns and going off to literally fight, that there's so much more around that we could talk about. And so one of the ideas I had, I'm just going to throw it out here for you guys, see what you think, was the whole topic of maple sugar, and tracing it right back to the Sugar Act of 1764, which was a restriction that the British put on the import of molasses and sugar from the Caribbean to the colonies, thereby restricting sugar that came into this country. And it sparked what sounds familiar, an effort to liberate ourselves from foreign-made goods and make it ourselves here. And so that, you can see modern parallels to that, and so maple sugar, it was elevated into a kind of political zone. It was, instead of just being a food source, now it became a patriotic act to be making your own sugar, and thereby screw the British, we'll make it ourselves and carry on. So to me, that was, and so in Whately, we actually have a sugar industry, multiple people still doing sugar. And I started, and so it gives you this, it gave me a vision of how we could kind of broaden this out. There's nobody that hates the idea of maple sugar. It's just a happy thought. And there's all kinds of programming and all kinds of layers of history that we could be doing, from Native Americans through this revolutionary moment. There was a moment after that where maple sugaring became an abolitionist movement because Thomas Jefferson, among others, got very interested in, even though he owned slaves, sort of the whole slavery issue in the Caribbean and trying to maneuver away from that. But then even contemporary sugars face environmental issues now, that we could discuss. It has its current climate change threads that could go all kinds of places. So we could have a whole college seminar on maple sugar and involve some people in town that don't normally get asked to participate.
Sounds great.
I love it.
That idea. Absolutely love that.
And it's rooted in freedom, which, what's more 1776 than that?
Well,
Yeah.
and homemade, and doing it yourself. And yes, I liked a lot of the elements of it. I'm not sure this Historical Society, they had some other ideas that I think were further developed and they wanted to move ahead with. They liked the idea, but then they're all kind of, I think, looking at me like, well, are you going to do it all? I'm like, I'm not going to do it myself. So
I think the events that you could have around that
Totally.
topic are so great, and they're so family friendly.
exactly.
Like my kids would be so into celebrating maple syrup in whatever way, shape, or form they could.
Right. I can't think of any unhappiness that goes with this.
The
But
the schools would love it too, I think.
well, you want to just, that's just one idea I had, that I was trying to find some nugget in that whole lead up to the revolution and why the revolution happened. I mean, this is why the revolution happened, because the British started putting the screws, tightening the screws on people until they got too pissed off and said, that's it, we're done. And I think a lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah.
I think this is great. I think we should pursue it. I've a little bit been thinking about the topic you mentioned last time about people talking in taverns and how word got around. And I was
This
wondering,
year or 250 years ago?
250 years ago.
Okay, because it's still happening, Judy.
Well, yeah, and that was what my point was. I don't know. I grew up with great Kenneth Roberts.
Yeah.
He wrote historical novels, and one of his is called Arundel, and it opens with it's about the revolution, and opens with a scene in a tavern, and they're all
Bar fight.
screaming, and it's great fun. But you could take that and work on how information was communicated then, how people got news, how it's evolved over time, how I don't know if you wanted to deal about democracy in terms of, there was an op-ed this week in the paper about it was Andrea Avasian, talking about all the threats to democracy that have happened over the years, the Sedition Act, this, that, and the other thing, and about how, but I think you could also do some of the same thing about how things have evolved and how much they're the same, but how they're different.
I might have a lecture already on that from one of my communication classes. Quite honestly.
Great. I don't think it's as good as the maple sugar one, but it's another possible approach.
I guess the thing about the maple sugar one, and it could be something else too, is that it offers an opportunity to bring in all parts of this town and even people from other towns, okay, because that's an option too. We can actually, you know, broaden it if we wanted to, but it presents good programming ideas and a physical see, what Judy's talking about is interesting. It's hard to draw a picture of what Judy just said, though. You know, hard to make a
Yep.
poster of that, but maple sugar we can do.
I
It's a
feel
very-
like people will turn out for things if it's fun for their kids.
Or fun for them. I don't care if it's
Well,
fun.
they're different constituencies, and
I mean, no offense,
have to be
Ashley. I'm not
focused.
gonna go because it's fun for Ashley's kids. I'm going 'cause it's fun for me.
We have to appeal to all levels.
Not everything has to appeal to
We
everybody.
don't usually reach. That's my point. It's not to the exclusion of others, but it involves people who are not necessarily engaged with, you know, lectures that we have at town hall or that the Historical Society has at town hall or other events. So I
Here's a
really
question
like-
I would ask that maybe you guys can answer then is, so there is funding, as I understand it, some funding floating around in a cloud someplace. I don't really understand, Judy, where that comes from or how it works. But how would we tailor an idea like this so that we actually could get funding? Because that would be important and wonderful if we could craft this so that it is funded with some of the state money.
Well, I have to go back and see if I can find the grant notice that went around. Is it on that Mass 250 website? Must be.
I didn't see it there, but it was not a very.
Well, I'll see what I can find.
I guess that would be a first
Oh,
thing.
I just found
would
it here. Donna sent it. Hold on.
I remember reading it and thinking it didn't fit anything we were talking about at the time. I'd have to go back and see. And you're right, what you do is try and tailor to it rather than the other way around. But
partly tailor part of what we do to it.
yeah,
Well, the online application deadline was August 26th.
Okay, well, that's simple.
there'll be another
There'll be
one.
another,
Yep.
yeah.
Sure.
You
I'll
sure?
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
Mass Humanities also does. Mass Humanities seems to be devoting a lot of their stuff to diversity and untold history from groups that have been ignored.
Yes,
Uh,
but I think that's hard for us to do.
yes,
what I like about the maple syrup one is it's so hyper local and relevant to the town and to some of the industry in the town.
Yeah.
And an industry that we've had for ages.
you know, I wonder if the town has money.
And
or
it's
something.
threatened, you know, it's threatened by years like this, you know, winters like we've had and all kinds of reasons it's threatened. I don't think it's forever.
There's a Mass Maple Association. They might wonder if they.
If we want town money, I mean, the finance cycle begins at the beginning of the year, so we should consider if we want to ask for a budget line, yeah, budget item.
Why don't we all just think about this, you know?
Yeah,
We can't decide tonight, right? But just
no,
think about it and maybe there's some other topic that you feel like would relate in the same kind of way to You know,
We don't
the-
have to
the-
limit ourselves to one. We could have one sort of broad topic that we work on over several years. Or, and then one or two other smaller events if they cropped up.
Let's start
Or
with.
if somebody asked us to participate.
Yeah, I don't want to bite off more than we can handle. There's
Yeah.
Let's
four of
start with
us.
one idea and then
One
see if we
idea's
can,
enough.
how broad we can make it. I mean, because you could relate it to, as I say, to all kinds of other issues.
Yeah.
Slavery, you know, environmentalism,
Farming.
farming. Yeah, I mean, it could go anywhere, really. I mean, it's 6 degrees of separation almost. Kevin Bacon and maple syrup goes together.
As far as, looking at multiple projects, I'm suddenly realizing I have PTSD from our 250th. I'm like, one thing, all of them.
My man's already going, I'm like, oh, we can do a maple syrup like crawl and we can have this event. I'm like, sorry, I'm excited about it. I think it sounds fun.
That's still all grounded in the maple syrup
It
concept.
is
as
still, yeah,
opposed to-
but I can think of several, and I think you were saying the same thing, like several different ideas about
What ages are your
Yeah.
Well,
kids?
what it is it, we have this sweet vehicle to
Oh,
deliver,
pun.
to deliver an
Unintended.
education, you know, a way to
Yeah.
deliver an educational message. We're not just trying to fatten up the
Yeah.
town. You know, it's not just having fun. It's gathering people and getting their attention so that we can impart some message, and we got to decide what that is. So, some ideas and some sense of history and some learning from that topic.
Yeah.
And revisiting it that way. I bet you a lot of people don't really think about going back that far with.
They don't, I doubt it. It's just what you put on your pancakes, right?
some
Judy, my
sort of-
kids are 11 and 7.
Well,
So,
I'm sure they know where maple syrup comes from.
no, it's,
They
I
do.
was working back from there to what context you have at the school.
Unfortunately, we don't go to the public school.
I was afraid of that.
But I
That
do,
doesn't
but
mean we can't get there.
we don't,
though.
I do know, I do have friends who are at the public school and we do play the rec sports in town. So I do know some people, but I don't know like the teachers and stuff.
Yeah, because
But I think they would
there
be
used
interested.
to be one teacher who was very anxious to get her kids involved with the historical society, and
Yeah.
they did projects like the kids all made jugs one year and designed their own jugs, and or they'd come and do a tour of the historical society every year. And I don't even know if that, I'm assuming it was like a 5th or 6th grade teacher, but I don't even know if that person, I don't know who it was, and I don't know if they're still there.
Well, my kids go to the Greenfield Center School, and my daughter is in an outdoor program, and they actually make their own maple syrup every year. They tap trees like in their classroom and boil it down and share it with the school. They would love this whole thing. Be right up their alley.
It would be a great thing at the spring festival to haul out and do somehow, you know, make it part of those, well, both of them. Well, let's just think, shall we think about it and see,
Yeah.
see what rattles around?
Yeah. Yep.
Stop typing minutes now, damn it. All right,
Good ideas as usual, Allison, keep them up. Well, maybe we should
I just
say
didn't want,
stop now.
I didn't want to see more blank faces at the. All right,
They think in terms of objects. And they
Well,
also,
and you tell people, oh, we're gonna do something about the revolution, they see guys with guns crouching behind stone walls and gunpowder going off, that's what
or
they see.
bonnets and gowns, or,
And I don't even see that, but. And if this was Lexington, then we'd have a whole bunch of different
It'd be
ideas.
different.
oh,
Go back-
we'd say everything's been done.
I think we go, it's a story. It's a story that Whately has
Yeah.
to share.
Love it.
Good.
All right, shall I stop taking minutes?
Anything else on our agenda? Hold on, when's our next meeting?
No, it's just the
That
next
should be
meeting, I think.
That the
Next meeting is
18th?
Monday, November 18th, yeah,
Okay.
that should go in the minutes. Anything else, Judy?
I don't have anything else.
So I guess I have to go make dinner.
Yeah, okay.
We ate such a late lunch, I don't think we're gonna have dinner.
And that was us yesterday. Good.
Rest
right,
up, Ashley.
I intend to. After I'm actually going to the soccer field now though, because my
I'm gonna stop
7-year-old
the
has
recording.
practice.
Hold on.
All right, guys, nice to see you.